The best way to do this is to first identify where the heavy spot is. Identifying where the heavy spot is. Here we go. Seems like somewhere along there. I think it's right here. I think it's right here. I think it's right here. Okay, so if that is going to be my heavy spot, I need to do put an equal weight, or I'm assuming I'm guessing what I think is an equal weight on the other side. So right over here. Okay, so I'm gonna. The wheel drop was pretty subtle, so I'm thinking it's probably a very light heavy spot. So I'm gonna use my very thin nut and bolt here. So I'm gonna grab one of these, stick it in here, secure the bolt with the nut. Okay, it's nice and tight. Okay, now checking for static balance visually. Seems like the wheel does not automatically drop. Well, it kind of did a little bit. Or maybe, oh, I'm not holding it straight. Let's try that. Does not seem like there's a lot of static imbalance. Okay, now let's check for dynamic balance. Put this here. Still moves it just a little bit. Yeah, definitely still have issues of dynamic imbalance. So earlier when we solved the issue of dynamic imbalance, we ended up going opposite and going opposite of the heavy spot, but I'm worried that if I put something here on this opposite end, it might reintroduce static imbalance. And so if I think that it's just still an issue of dynamic imbalance, there's something that I can do with this here, so that way I can add an extra weight on this side without introducing more weight on the opposite end. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off this piece here. And I'm actually going to keep this bolt here so I can remember where the heavy spot, or the opposite of the heavy spot is. And then I'm going to grab another bolt, and I'm going to kind of put the nut so that way I know that it'll go on one side of the wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-install it to the edge of the bolt. So now the bolt is at the top of the nut is at the top of the bolt. And I'm going to take off where I had my placeholder. I'm going to place this in here and now secure it with the nut. So I'm going to actually end up using 2 nuts and 1 bolt here. So this is what I think might be the solution here to take care of the dynamic imbalance as well as the static imbalance. Okay, here we go. So, going to check visually for static imbalance. Does not seem that the wheel is moving on its own, unless I mess up. Looks good. Okay, now I'm going to spin it and see if it goes any one direction. I'm going to spin it. And again, it might move a little bit at the beginning because I'm still adjusting my hands, but see how it doesn't go all the way to the edge of one of the handlebars? And I think that is the solution there. Right, so solution is you're going to use 2 nuts, one on this side and one on this side, and then that's a solution.